All right. So let me bring in this twist. So we know that, like you were saying earlier, when it comes to relationship and marriages, the family plays 80% role, and the church or the clergy plays 20% role. But I know that there are some churches that will not allow you, or they don't recognize your marriage if it's not done in the church. Like if it's not a white wedding, they don't recognize it as a marriage. What do you have to say about that? Because I know that what we call white wedding here in Ghana is somebody's traditional wedding. So why are pastors not allowing people to do the traditional wedding, and they're not recognizing that, but they want people to do the white wedding or something?
But we are not white, we are blacks.
Right.
So forcing a black to do white is out of context. But let's go straight to settle this thing. I keep saying that the marriage is not your uncle's idea, it's not your pastor's idea, it's God's idea. And so if we are going to marriage, you must follow the laid down patterns. Follow the laid down patterns. I've not seen anywhere in the Bible that marriage is being done in the church.
Okay.
All the time, even from the Old Testament, you will see that they will carry things from this family, go and meet another person, fulfill another family, fulfill the requirement, and marriage is insisted.
Right.
All right. So I did not see anywhere in Scripture, even where Jesus attended a wedding in John chapter 2, they never spoke that was the wedding. That was the real marriage. They spoke about a ceremony called a wedding. Right. So if I understand marriage very well, what happens? There are 3 types of marriage, and I want to share this because of where we are going to.
Right.
We have the traditional marriage.
Okay.
That's the customary marriage. Let's do the customary marriage. Then we have the court marriage, and we have the the wedding. But I believe that this program is very important, that everybody should be part and be listening to this program on each session, so that we get ourselves educated. Yeah. It will help us so that we understand it. All right. So what happens is that when you are going to do the court marriage, the court marriage does not stand alone. It stands on the traditional marriage.
Okay, that's a customary marriage.
Yes, please. Right. When we are going to do the white marriage or the wedding itself, I've not seen anywhere as a clergy where the people did not marry traditionally or customary, and we are doing wedding for them. It's not done.
Right. So what is that not supposed to be 2 different wedding ceremonies? If we are agreeing that the white wedding,
I will go to that. Okay. I will get to that. So here it means that the wedding doesn't stand except the foundation of customary marriage.
So what's the need?
So the court doesn't agree with the law marriage if the customary is not done. So it means the 2 are hanging on one.
Okay.
So if this building is hanging on the foundation, tell me that the building and the foundation, which is more important?
The foundation.
That's it.
Right.
That's it. If you don't attend primary school, there's no way you can be enrolled into GSS. It's not.
Exactly.
So we follow the laid down procedures. So the customary marriage is the real marriage.
Right. The customary marriage, the real marriage. So I think we should establish this, because I think that people are also, as it were, getting to the point where they feel like, if I don't do white wedding, then I have not done my marriage ceremony. I think that we should be able to educate people to know that your customary marriage, which we call traditional wedding, is enough. You don't necessarily have to do the white wedding before you are recognized, even in the books of the law of the state that you are married.
My father didn't do wedding.
Right.
Is he married?
He did the customary, right?
Yeah,
he's married.
Right. So someone walked in my office and said, a prophet told her that God is not going to bless her because she and the husband did not marry in church.
But that is a lie from the pit of hell. Come on. You see, that is the manipulation aspect I'm talking about. Some of this things get me heated up. Also, let me say this. Some of this things get me heated up because, you see, are you saying that the marriage that is recognized by God himself, I believe, is a customary marriage? You can't tell me that if you don't do white wedding, God will not bless my marriage. That is not possible.
I said it's true because, let me show you why I said it's true.
I'm listening.
If you go to Jamestown or if you go to some areas in Accra,
right?
Do you know you can conclusively say that Ghana is dirty?
Yes.
There's some areas you go to in Accra here, you can easily tell me that Ghana is dirty.
Yeah, there are a lot of tourists who come here and they do that.
And say Ghana is dirty. But if I take you to East Legon and Trasacco, you can conclusively see that Ghana is
clean, beautiful.
So it depends on which where you are.
Right.
So the level of our knowledge determines what we see.
Exactly.
The height of knowledge determines what we see.
Exactly.
So when I see somebody saying that then I know that you are bereft of knowledge.
That's right.
You are short. You are like Zacchaeus when it comes to knowledge.
I think that we have
blame
to
them. That's why our listeners must keep listening to us all the time, so that we can feed them with the right knowledge.
Let me say this. Let it be on record. Divine Williams, a pastor, relationship counselor, I said this, that under no circumstance should you allow anybody to tell you that if you don't marry in the church, God will not bless you. That is a lie from the pit of hell. If you marry traditional wedding, that is enough. If that is what you can afford, please go for it. If you want to do the white wedding afterwards, go ahead and do it. But it does not mean that without that, your marriage is not recognized even in heaven. Let's go on.
It has become pressure. We are putting pressure on young people whose money should have gone into investing in building a house.
Exactly.
And they are going to spend 40,000 cedis, 50,000 cedis just to do the white
wedding. And that's more expensive than even a traditional wedding.
Far. All right. So let me just chip in something.
Okay.
I will clarify our listeners. See, the real wedding is the traditional marriage, or the customary marriage.
Right.
When this law is fulfilled, I wish I have a series I preach on the steps to a glorious marriage.
Okay.
So that from this friendship, how you go and how you go. So when you get to let me go through that shortly. First of all, you want to get married, you build friendship. I have 10 friends around me. I've noticed that 2 of them, Ivy and Pamela, looks outstanding in judging them from the WIFE model. So I decided to take Pamela, one of them, for a date. Why am I taking her for a date? I want us to go sit down. Let me know her inwardly, introspectively. Right. So we begin to talk. She tells me about her family, her aspirations, what she wants to do. If what she says is matching up with mine, and I feel there's compatibility, then I can take the next step to propose to her.
Okay.
So from friendship we go to dating. Right. From dating we go to proposal. The proposal ushers us into relationship. Now a relationship doesn't mean we are going to get married. Because we are now going to study ourselves to see our compatibility and see how possible we can form a family together. So when we spend a year or 2 in a relationship and we feel like, wow, it's going well, we're compatible, everything is fine, then we can proceed to the next stage called the courtship stage. The courtship stage is a stage where we prepare towards marriage. Do you get it? So when we prepare towards marriage and we feel like, okay, at this preparation stage, our parents have endorsed, our clergy has endorsed, and want to go further, then we go to the next stage called the knocking stage. My family, led by the family head, will take a delegation from my family, 3 or 4 people, and go to meet my bride-to-be's family. Then they ask permission that there's a lady I saw that I am interested and have chosen to be my partner. And so the family is officially asking for her hand in marriage. Then when we go for the knocking, the family accepts the knocking and gives us a requirement that in our custom or in our family or tradition, if we are able to provide this and this and this to the family, we can release our daughter from marriage. So that's what we call the dowry list. Now the list is given to me. I go back home and then with my family we put things together, and then I give the bride family a date by which I will fulfill the laws or the requirement of the family. When I bring those things, those items, in the name of engagement, when I bring those things and they accept it and they endorse it, they release their blessing on their daughter and release their daughter to me. That from their hearts they have released their daughter to me, to be a wife to me. So on that day, that engagement, the blessings have been released from the parents and from the clergy. That's right. That's why most people bring the clergy even to the engagement. So they can release the blessing upon it. Now, when we finish this marriage, there's a next thing. Now, because the church didn't represent fully 100% at the engagement, which is mostly done in most of the times in their villages or in our family houses, we are saying that they can see Collins kissing Hilda. The church members can see Collins kissing my wife Hilda, and they will think it's fornication. They will go and report me to the pastor that I saw a church members kissing, because they were not present at the engagement. Because the engagement may only have 10% of the church congregation attending. So on Sunday, I and my wife go to the church and introduce ourselves to the church that we got married yesterday, but unfortunately the whole church couldn't represent. So we have come to officially show ourselves to you that from henceforth, from yesterday, we became couples. That is what we call a wedding. Right. So the wedding is not a marriage. Do you get the scenario? So now it has become an occasion that when we now go to introduce ourselves to the church, we have to provide them water and food, which is not.
It's not supposed to be the case.
Okay. And now we have introduced a lot of things around this ceremony called wedding, which is not even the actual marriage.
Exactly.
So now this artificial thing that which people are doing out of lack of knowledge has become a system now. That now the church is now based on to think
it's a strong system that the church has, as it were, absorbed. But you go for weddings today at churches, and even sometimes the bridal team or whatever they call it, you can have as much as 12 people behind the bride, 12 guys behind the groom. If you look at the cost of one suit times 12, shoe times 12, now the stage light and lighting, all this cameramen, all these things. That's not. So why are we doing this to ourselves?
It's lack of knowledge.
God have mercy.
I did the wedding in 2015, but if it's now,
you didn't do the wedding.
And the young ones, when you advise them, they don't listen because of the euphoria, the feeling. It's become competitive now. It's become so competitive now. And it's becoming a problem. And it's one reason why young men don't marry now, because the expenses involved in getting married in the so-called church, this has become a problem.
That's true.
You getting it? Our parents didn't have the church opportunity, but they're married. And you cannot tell me that when we do engagement and fulfillment of the customary law, you will tell me to come to church for blessing. Which blessing?
Exactly.
Great one.
You know, this is a problem because, you know, I think that the church has to look at this very critically, because, you know, there are people that after doing the traditional marriage, which is the customary one, they are even afraid to touch their wives because they feel like if you do that, you have not completed the process yet. So you have not done a white wedding yet. So some people do their traditional marriage maybe a week or two, sometimes even a month before they do the as it were, the church one. People will do that and are waiting to do the church wedding. If it is 1 month, 2 months, they are waiting for that period, finish the church wedding before they touch their wives. Because of these things, it's unfortunate. Also, if you do customary marriage, as far as I'm concerned, go and have fun with your wife. I don't think that God will get down from heaven and strike you with the with anger because you slept with your wife or you had sex, intimacy with your wife because you have not done before you did white wedding.
So does it mean God is angry with Isaac?
No, I'm not sure God is angry with Isaac at all.
That's enough.
What do you think? You asked the question, but what do you think?
I don't think God is angry with him.
Anyway, although there's another thing.
Let's flip this. We had in the Bible that Peter had a wife.
Okay.
Are you sure he did wedding? By the tradition of the Jews.
I believe that in the context of their cultural setting, there was a wedding. But that was their wedding. That was their traditional wedding. It doesn't have to be a church. It was a customary marriage. Exactly.
By the customs.
Exactly. Right. So God will not get angry.
But we are not saying
it was recorded in the Bible.
We are not saying
that he had a wife.
Yeah, we are not saying that we should not do wedding. No, we are not saying it.
We are not saying that at all.
Understand why we do the wedding.
Exactly. So that doesn't look like I'm saying if you are done with customary marriage and you are waiting to go to the church to do white wedding before you touch your wife. For me that's a problem for me.
You see the work I do. I have a lot of women who are putting pressure on their husbands to go and do wedding. Meanwhile, they have married 10 years ago.
But because that was customary, they want to see the white wedding.
Yes, they want to feel it in church because their other colleagues have done their weddings in church.
The church has a lot of work to do.
Yes, please. So we have to. That's why these shows are important. So that we can. And we are not fighting the church. We are just saying we are also part of the clergy.
Absolutely.
We have it from the different understanding.
That's right.
To know that let's be real. So
That's
that we don't. There are young guys who are 40 years who are not married because the quantity of money they need to
they
get
are
married
waiting.
now.
I know a guy who is waiting. He said, "When are you going to marry my guy?" So Charlie, I dey look for money. So for years, my guy is still looking for money because he's thinking about the white wedding. Are you getting it? There's a problem. Oh, but let me chip this one in. I think so equally important. In marriage, anytime we get married and then there are issues, it is the family that we fall on. That's our first point of call. We don't go to the church necessarily. But it looks like before marriage or premarital counseling is only done by the church. Why is there not a place or the slot for the family to counsel us that we are only limiting it to the church. But if there's a problem in the marriage, the first people we go to is the church. Can there not be a mandatory? Can we do that where we allow a mandatory, or we establish a mandatory counseling sessions with our families or our parents as well, so that I don't know that there is not only just from the church, so that if there's an issue, the first person you run to should be able to have a say in how you even get married, as far as counseling is concerned.
All right, thank you. So let me use this analogy here. In every good company, we have an internal auditor and we have an external auditor.
That's right.
So the internal auditor keeps check of transactions throughout the year, and so at the end of the year, based on the company policy, the external auditor comes in to also come and go through the books to make sure that there's compliance and things are done well. So this is what happens. The same thing is a replica of our marriages. Okay. Our family, that's the mom and dad, becomes the internal auditors.
Okay.
So right from the day one, I keep saying that they are supposed to teach us.
Okay.
They are supposed to counsel us. They are supposed to show us.
But this is, you're talking about a personal one. So I'm talking about where you have your guy, you have your lady, you are going to marry. So the church has 3 months. In my church like this, the counseling is 3 months and it is mandatory.
Okay.
Are we not able to establish that for family as well, so that there is a family counseling and then the church counseling, so that at the end of the day you are getting, like, I get your point. We have internal auditors and then we have external ones in the corporate world. When it comes to marriage, it looks as though we leave the counselings at the doors of the church, and so the family does not really make much input when it comes to counseling.
They make. That's why I'm saying that from day one, the family is supposed to take care of us when it comes to counseling and guidance. They're supposed to guide us. Okay. Now, when they guide us and we get to the stage where we want to get married, obviously, when we are going for the knocking and then the engagement, the parents come in, share their advice and things. But
is that enough?
But because this is my child, I'll be biased. Now, I am not trained as a counselor. Okay. So I can only teach based on what I know and my experience. Right. So we allow the parent to teach the people. But you see, the final teaching should be done by a professional, somebody who is a professional. Okay. So that it becomes neutral. The counselor in my church doesn't know me, doesn't know my wife. Okay. So I believe he'll be neutral. If I'm counseling, I may be biased based on my experience. I heard a woman saying that her child will never marry a poor person. I knew because of the experience she has gone through in marriage. She married a poor person and things were too hard. So if that wife becomes the counselor for the couple, then the counseling will be like, hey, you guys work for money. But an experienced counselor who has been educated, who has been to school, who is neutral, will be able to do better than our parents will do. So, and we are not comparing, though some parents are better, but we are saying that there should be an external auditor to take care of at the end of the year to audit us. So the parents become the internal auditor. When you are coming to marry my daughter, I will sit you down. Definitely we'll meet like 6 or 7 times. I will talk to the 2 of you. I'll talk to my daughter separately. I'll talk to my in-laws separately. Bring them together and teach them before I present them to the counselor. Okay. Do you get it? So I think with that, there's an order. But the problem here is that our parents don't counsel us.
Why?
It's the African belief. Can you talk to your father about a boyfriend or a girlfriend? It's difficult.
I should be able to do that.
My father. You are in SS.
Okay, so a typical African man, you dare not go near him to go and talk about your boyfriend or your girlfriend. You receive some slaps.
Good one to reset, to put your mind.
So I think that to some extent, they also didn't do well in grooming us and preparing us for marriage. There are a lot of young
ladies who were even going through menstruation and their parents don't even know.
Aware,
because there's no cordiality, there's no relationship. So this is where we are calling back on our parents, as parents and the parents, that we should get closer to our people and be their number one counselor. Okay. If there's a way you can bond with your child, that any least thing that happens, she will inform you.
Okay, I agree with you. I think that we should be able, parents should be able to rise up and begin to teach their children about marriage even before they begin to find their partners. Sure. So that before the pastor begins to do counseling, you have done a lot of counseling. So you must be intentional. There's no institution that will have to necessarily establish that for families, but parents should be able to establish that, intentionally train up their children the way they should go, so that when they go, they don't depart from it. As far as their marriages and relationships are concerned, just like you said, one of the challenges we have, and a typical African home is where, and Ghana for that matter, is where you want to marry somebody that you love, you love the person, and all of that. Now, the first question your parents ask you when you get home is that, what is his tribe? This issue, of course, I had experienced that myself. It was tough, but God was faithful. How are you able to handle this issue so that if you get into the situation where your parents are opposing you because of they are opposing your relationship because of the tribe of your partner, how are you able to find a way around it so that at the end of the day you don't hurt your parents, they also don't feel disrespected, but you are also able to go ahead with a relationship that will lead to marriage?
This is bloody. It's been problem. There's a lady I have, a friend of mine, I think in Cape Coast, who loved a certain guy, deep love, and the parent says, should I mention the tribe? So I think we should mention it. Well, it says that.
Oh no, let's not mention tribe. Let's flow.
Yeah, I like it because they say it's
flow.
from this tribe,
Okay.
so we will not allow.
Okay.
And truly, they love themselves. She got married to somebody the parents love, and now the marriage is not working.
Wow.
The other guy too went to marry somebody else. It's not working. So at the end of the day, these people are still finding their way to meet.
So they disobey their parents'
They obey
counsel.
They obey their parents.
Okay, so they actually obey their parents.
They obeyed. It didn't work.
Don't marry from tribe A. They went to tribe B, and then the marriage.
She brought tribe B, which the parents like, and it's not working.
Oh wow! Because there was no love in the first place. The person you loved, you have been denied on tribal grounds.
Good.
Oh wow!
And it's happening. There are people who are watching us.
It's a lot.
People can share what they have been through.
It's a lot.
And the problem I have here is that we need parental blessing. We need it, definitely.
Exactly.
We need a spiritual. We need a parental.
So that's
blessing.
the point I'm coming to. That
So,
if you get to a point, okay, I'm coming. If you get to the point where your parents are saying no, they will not accept this tribe into their home, so you have to end the relationship. How will you be able to go around it?
Okay.
To get their acceptance and receive their blessings, because it's very, very key.
That's right. So it's bloody. Definitely, somebody will be offended.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Because you have your rights.
Right.
And the biggest problem is when you are dealing with parents who are ignorant or who are rigid. It's a problem.
Can there be ignorant parents?
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
Very.
Okay. Tell me about it.
The things we go through, you could see some people, and people are blind. How can you tell me that your auntie married from this tribe? It didn't work. So if you marry from this tribe, it won't work. I think some of these things are just flimsy. There's one case I handled. They've been in a relationship for 3 years. The guy was going for knocking, and the parent says, the in-law to be says that the way he walks so fast, they don't like it.
The way he walks so fast.
He walks too fast. Looks like a thief.
Are you kidding me?
So some of this, yeah. So you can see, if we check our comments, you will see a lot of comments. People be commenting. They lost love, genuine love, for some funny reasons, but maybe the parents give.
Wow.
Very, very heartbreaking. Very. And you end up respecting your parents, and the parents die, enter the grave, and you're suffering.
You're suffering in your marriage
because of the choice they made for you. That's why I keep hitting that. Let parents know their roles. Let's know our boundaries and our responsibility, so that we don't interfere in people's affairs. All right. So if such issue happen, then if let's assume I'm going to marry and the parent says no, right? One, I need to go back to my family, talk to my family head, and then delegate a council to meet them.
Okay.
Sometimes people are more fairy. There are instances parents says they will not agree, and I have to say, okay, let's go. I will go with you. I will drive there as a pastor, speak to them and advise them that, you see, Bible says that in Christ there is no Greek, there's no Jew.
That's right.
It means that once we are, Paul says, when you are married,
one family.
First of all, observe and select from the household of faith.
That's right.
Not tribe, faith. So if you are married and I'm a Christian, if you are a Fanti or you are a Dagati, once you are a Christian, we become a family under one umbrella.
Okay.
So Christ is a unifier. Okay. The only problem we're going to face is that every tribe has its ways of life, the ways of culture. So we only have to educate me that if you marry from this tribe, these are the things, the consequences I might face, which I believe that when you go there, you should be able to deal with. Are you getting it? Right. So when you bring somebody who is renowned or somebody who is I don't know the keyword to use there. When you bring such a person to the family and sit down with your parent, I believe that when we have a talk, there could be a way out. Do you get it? Like, let's assume there are things I can say no. Then somebody comes with his father, who is older than me.
Yeah.
And he sits down and begins to talk to me. Oh, my son is a good person. It's not what you think. This tribe you think is not a good thing. I am the father. I'm married to one wife. I've been faithful to my wife. So I don't believe that your ideology holds. If that does not work, then the God who gave me a partner, I should go back to God in prayer.
Okay.
The Bible says that in the book of Proverbs 22, that the heart of a king lies in the hands of God. God can turn it. So we have seen God turning the heart of people. We have seen God touching the heart of people. We have seen God encountering people in their dreams. So I believe that the couple should not force themselves, because the problem here is that when we are married, it's two families. If you do guy, oh, I'm in love. God told me. If you step ahead of the boundaries of your parental blessing and you get married, definitely there will be a problem. If there is not, then God has saved you. But if God hasn't saved you, and I know every marriage goes through storms. When you go through storm, can you go back to your family? If something happened in the family and we are going for a funeral, let's assume you lose your partner, who escorts you there?
Right.
So no matter how much we are in love and we have the power of choices, we should also be able to play around with our parents so that they can like our choice. Yesterday, someone asked me a question. He said, I'm going to visit my in-law for the first time. What are the do's and the don'ts?
Wow.
And when I explained 7 things you should do that will make them love you, it's very important, so that we don't just go by faith. Oh, God told me. Oh, and if you go there and you make some of these petty mistakes, you'll be surprised that Africans look at impressions, your first impressions, the things, and judge you. And sometimes it's our own fault. Why our parents may reject our offer.
So therefore, you just mentioned 7 things that you would do for your, as it were, your in-laws to love you. This is very important. I think we need to help the viewers, because you see, we are talking about families or your in-laws denying you because of your tribe and all of that. So I think that it will be important to give us these tips, so that maybe when you walk by these keys or principles, you are able to win the heart of your in-laws, so that even though they don't like your tribe, they will like your person and allow the marriage to go on. Can you help us with the tips?
When you come to my table, the counseling table, you will notice that it's not only tribe.
Okay.
There are a lot of things we do. It's like an interview. A lot of things we do that gives people a false impression about us.
Okay.
There are things people observe that they can see you and can just tell you that, my daughter, I think this guy, be careful about this guy. So some of the things we do in our first visit, second visit, and the things the way we communicate with our in-laws it's very important. Okay?
So 7 things to do to get your in-laws to love you despite their hatred for your tribe. Let's go, Osofo.
Wow, this is amazing. All right, I didn't plan for this, but let's let me try and recap. 1, before I bring you to my house, I must hype you before my parents.
Okay.
Hyping is very important.
Okay.
What is hyping? Hyping means I tell them good things about you.
Okay. So in this case,
I don't lie about you, but I tell them the good side of you.
Okay.
Because 1, there are things I tell, and this even takes me. When we start a relationship, our first call of reconciliation is not our parents.
Okay.
Most people make mistake. I'm dating you 2 weeks. Something happened. I call you, you're not picking my call because we are having a fight. And I tell my mom. I tell my dad. We had a little issue and he's not picking my call. He's doing this, he's that and that. When you start telling them, the day he comes up, they've already formed an ideology.
An idea.
A picture about him.
So even if you guys have reconciled, if you make up, at the end of the day, what they know is the negative things you said to them about your partner, so it becomes a problem.
Good. I was sharing with somebody yesterday. I said, if something happened between I and my wife, my parents would think I'm a bad person. Because I've never spoken one thing about my wife to them. So all I speak about them is good things.
It's good things. That's number 1, hype. You have to hype your partner before your parents.
Can you imagine I'm bringing you home and I've already told my parents that this is the guy who encouraged me when I was in school. At the point I felt like giving up, everything was bad, he was the one. Even it was he called his uncle to link me to do my national service in the bank. The job I'm working is my guy. He's been so helpful, he's been a powerful Christian. I really like his guy. If my parents, you can't wait to meet this guy. He's a blessing to me. And I believe that this guy will be a blessing to you as well. There are things when you say, when your parents come, even with the tribe thing fighting them, it begins to kill that anxiety and that hatred for the tribe.
Okay.
That's 1. Number 2. Before you step to your in-laws' house, you must first of all create a rapport.
With who? With them?
Yes, you don't go there as a stranger.
But how are you able to create a rapport with them if they know your tribe?
Hold on.
Okay.
They know my tribe, right?
And they don't like your tribe.
They've not seen me before.
Yeah, they've not seen you before. Yeah.
But you cannot walk into somebody's house as a stranger.
Yes. So your beloved is introduced you to the family.
Good.
Right?
On phone before we go on the first visit.
Okay.
So on phone we talk. Daddy, how are you doing? I'm fine. Okay, Daddy, thank you so much. As your daughter told me, next week we'll be coming to the house to come and say hi to you. So Daddy, next week when you see me, this is Collins. I'm coming to say hi to you.
But that is not enough.
Is that?
That is not enough.
That's why I'm saying that it's
for a typical man from my village. Yeah. I don't want to mention tribes.
Yeah.
He doesn't care what all the nice things you want to say.
But we start from
somewhere.
They are bent. Yes, we start from somewhere.
Okay.
So the first call is that you must build friendship.
The first call is to build friendship.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Do you get it? So whether you like me or not, you still have to know my name.
Okay.
I don't just walk to your house as a stranger. Who is this? Okay, this is my. Oh no. You should know my name.
So you have to be strategic about
my name should enter your head. Even if you don't like me, you can hate Coca-Cola, but it should be in your mind. You getting it? Because in the day of testing, when there's no water, you will look for it.
Okay.
You getting it? So I register my name in your head by giving you a sharp call, or the lady will call in a conference call, and I'll speak to your dad. Oh, Daddy, hope you are fine. Thank you for raising this beautiful daughter. God really bless you. Next week I'll be passing by the house to say hi.
Okay.
You get it? You're just trying to build rapport. No matter how much they hate you, we must melt it. It's like an ice.
Okay.
No matter how tough and hard the ice is, when you expose it to heat, it will start melting. So step by step. Number 2, never enter to go and say hi to them without anything in your hands. Even God says, don't enter his house with empty hands.
So the second one is actually to build rapport.
That's right. The third
with
one,
them.
That's right.
The third one is
you don't go empty.
Go with a venison.
That's right. Even God that has in Haggai 2:8, it says, silver is mine, all the silver on the earth is mine, gold is mine, saith the Lord. But he said, don't enter my house empty-handed. You know why? Because bribe. Let me put the word bribe. It's an important. If you go to visit your in-law, they will give you food. It's bribe. They will serve you water. They will buy you. If they don't drink Don Simon at home or series, they will buy it for you. You know why? They want to create an impression for you to like the family.
Right. That's right.
So as you're also going, you're not just going to eat and talk and walk away. You must also create a good rapport. What are we doing? We are bending the ice. Because some of them think that your tribe is stingy. You prove to them. I'm coming, I buy you plantain.
That's right.
I'm coming from water, there's cheap plantain, I buy it for you. I'm coming from the north, I buy you yam.
So you buy a lot of things. You come and you clearly, you have demystified, or as it were, cleared away that idea that this tribe, they are stingy. So they don't give.
Step by step, you are demystifying the mysteries in their mind.
Okay.
You call your lady and you see their children in the house. When you are going, you buy toffees, buy candies, buy this chocolate and dash it to them. Even if the parents don't like you, the children will like you. It will fight the parents' conscience.
That's true.
That your father is saying, I don't like the tribe. And your sister-in-law said, I like this guy. He's so good. Look at the way he's humble. Look at the way he's so friendly. Look at the way he's not chiseled.
Breaking the ice.
So even your in-laws will fight, your brothers and sisters-in-law will fight your
begin to fight for you
because they've seen that you've acted so well. So you don't go empty-handed. You provide to them. When you go there, their ethics, you act maturely. Number 4,
ethics.
You act maturely. You don't go and sit down. They welcome you. You are picking the remote. You are a lady. You are picking remote. You are flipping channel to go and watch it. Nah.
So you act maturely.
You act maturely. They serve you foods, 7 slices of yam. You are eating all. No,
also, what if you are very hungry? As you are hungry.
So
you are hungry.
Yes, please.
You are hungry. For where you are coming from, and they have given you fufu. Me, I like fufu, and I'm seeing the chicken, the goat meat, and all of that. Also, for you say I should just eat half.
I'm not saying eat half, but I'm saying that you must be courteous.
Okay.
I went for an interview, one of the interviews in the bank, and they provided Don Simon and biscuit.
Okay.
And I know there are CCTV cameras watching us.
Right.
Some of them, these things are not important, but they are important to somebody.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
true.
Yeah. Somebody went somewhere, they gave them food, they ate and licked the bowl. Very nice. They are observing.
That's right.
Your children will be hungry when you give birth. This guy likes food. As for Africans, they can see people. They are funny, so we have to be careful when we're dealing with such things.
That's true.
Yeah,
you have given us 4 hype. Your beloved should be able to hype you before their parents, even before you go there. The second one is that you have to build rapport with them. Try to create a friendship and rapport with your in-laws. Number 3, you have to go to them with a venison. Right. Always have a gift. Bless them with something as you are visiting them.
In this gift, you ask your lady, what do your parents like most?
Yes, okay.
Yes, so okay. Something to appreciate them.
Right. And the last one you give us is that you have to act maturely. Okay.
And then the 5th one is that you must keep your communication. Keep your communication good. Okay,
keep
your communication cool.
Keep your communication cool.
There are people who goes to visit and then within 10 minutes you have explained how your father is beating your mother. That led to divorce. See, people pick things. People pick a lot of things. So when we are communicating, you are just to introduce yourself to the family. So just go straight to the point. Introduce yourself to the family. Keep the communication low. Don't hype yourself. Don't go and say I'm a CEO of this when even your in-law can help you. So the communication is very important. There are things we don't disclose. Okay. And my father has married 3 wives. These things, when you say them, you're making fun, but you are creating an impression in their mind. So there are things we say, living the communication. And in this communication, make sure you flow with the sisters. Okay. Make sure you flow with the brothers and sisters. Connect with them. There are things they will tell you about your in-becoming partner that your partner will not even tell you.
Fantastic.
Yes, so we create the rapport. So that even if your parents will disagree, by the friendship my in-laws, my brothers and sisters, my brother-in-laws, Charlie, there are 3. We are best of friends.
Also, we are giving us 5. It's okay. I will keep the 2 from you. No, don't give, because I don't want us to give more.
There's 1. Watch your dressing.
Watch your dressing. It's fantastic. Also, I want us to come back to the pastors.
That's right.
We're talking about roles and the rest. The place of parents and pastors in relationships. And I was talking earlier about the fact that some of the pastors are also taking the thing to the extreme. They're actually abusing people because they know that the people are seeing them as demigods. So whatever they say is what the people will go with. For they're actually abusing people and controlling people and their marriages. And marriage is very important because you see, I have had people, even now I counsel as well, who are in marriages that they are troubles, but they can't go out. The marriage was established or they were put together by pastors. And they are staying together even though it's not working because of the words of a pastor. Tell us the pastors something, also very important. And especially the audience who are about to enter into a relationship that your pastors are trying to manipulate you, listen very carefully.
All right, so from scripture, I have not come across where the prophet will stand up and say, "Thou sayest God, marry this one." I've not come across. There's only one that God compelled Hosea to marry. In that one is for a purpose. It's not the general yardstick. The Bible says that he that finds a wife. So it means the man must be guided by knowledge from the parents and the left from the clergy, so that when he goes out to the market, he finds his suitable helpmates. Okay. So you must know that your duty as a man is to look for a wife, and the duty as a woman is to strategically position yourself for a man to locate you.
That's right.
Anything other than this will be against the rule.
Okay.
So the clergy is to guide me. My parents are to feed me with knowledge, so that I choose.
Okay.
So if God tells me to tell you that thou sayest God, marry this one, please pause. Let God come and speak to you, and let God go and speak to the lady, because the Bible said a matter between 2 witnesses is established. So the prophetic ministry is not enough to establish it. It must be confirmed by you and by your partner.
Let's rewind and press that one again. Press the play again. That the prophetic ministry is not enough to establish a relationship between 2 people who want to marry.
Because even with the prophet, I prophesy by God's grace.
That's right.
We are even having issues in our marriage. So it means that God said it's not enough. So if God told me, He should tell you.
That's right.
Getting it.
That's right.
So if God tells me that I should go to tell you that I sense in my spirit, by the leading of the Holy Spirit, that this woman, please look at her carefully. She might be your wife. Then you go to God prayerfully to confirm what has been told you.
Okay.
So when you confirm it, the God must also appear to the other person and confirm to the woman that I can't walk to the man and say, "Thou sayest God, I shall marry you."
Right.
The God must also walk to her.
That's right.
And talk to her. So that's when it's established and my is established, then we can consider it.
That's right. I agree with you. So the prophecy that I see, your husband is ABC, is not enough.
I'm dealing with a lot of problems now. That the woman tells me that the man of God said I'm supposed to marry a pastor. But all the men coming are not pastors.
So what is God telling you?
I met a woman who told me that the man of God told him. I met a man who told me the man of God told her that the wife supposed to marry is supposed to be an akosua.
So that's my point, also, that we are. we are manipulating people.
I'm not in position to say whether it's right or not.
Yes, I'm not saying.
By the rules
of course,
God,
there are times that the prophet will speak, and indeed that's what God is saying.
Sure, exactly.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like we are using that as a way to get people to, as it were, listen to whatever we're saying. So whatever our parents say doesn't work. Even we are not allowing the Spirit of God to speak to us ourselves because of what our pastors are saying. That, like we are saying, if your prophet says that your wife is called Akosua, what is God telling you? It is important for us to also go to God and ask Him
the question
questions.
Is, how many Akosuas do we have in Accra?
Exactly.
Close to almost 1 million Akosas.
Exactly.
So so I believe that we should be matured enough.
Exactly.
To hear from God, to be led by the Spirit, and to go for what we want.
Right.
With maturity.
Right.
Because Bible says we see in part. One of the things I fear most is that He said we see in part and prophesy in part. So it means I can see 60% right and 40% wrong. It's
right.
There's no prophet that it's only Samuel whose word never fell to the ground. That's the one. He
that
was
is
even
why
guided by God in 1 Samuel 16. If not so, you have been misled.
That is why I am saying that, just like you said, we see in parts.
That's right.
So we shouldn't depend on the people who see in part. We should depend on the Spirit of God who knows it all to be able to tell us, give us the complete, as it were, direction as to who we are supposed to marry. Also, this has been a very exciting one. I won't lie to you at all. We have learned a lot. I'm sure the viewers have learned a lot. Thank you so much for coming today. Also, Collins, I know as for this show, I do it with you. I'll see you again another time. Thank you so much once again for being on this show with us. If you enjoyed this show, please comment, like, and share. And like I always say, if this is your first time joining us, please be sure to subscribe and hit the notification button so that you don't lose any of the episodes at all that will come. God bless you so much. We'll see you in another episode. Bye-bye.